On the far right over there, and you can move to the left. How about moving to the center? Okay, that's got a lot of room over here if you want to. Yes, my name is Ted Poe. I'm from another foreign country. I'm from Texas, and I want to welcome the speaker here today. We have also with us Duncan Hunter over here from California. You will find no greater friend in Washington than Duncan Hunter. He's one of our warriors that has been in combat and served in the Middle East, and he probably served with some Georgians.
With some Georgians, that's why I'm here.
That's right, served with some Georgians in Afghanistan. Yep. And of course the Georgians are still in Afghanistan along with the United States, and as a member of Congress I want to thank you for that. The work of the Georgians is tremendous. The people in charge of our military say that the Georgians are a great help on the war on terror in Afghanistan. And I want to thank Georgia for doing that. Mr. Speaker, welcome to Congress. This is the members' room. You have to be a member of Congress to normally get in this room. And so you qualify, of course, but we want to welcome you to this very special room where members of Congress spend some time. And thank you for being here in Washington. Your first visit to the United States. It means a lot to us that you chose Washington, D.C., the seat of democracy in the world, to come as your first visit to the United States. And when you come back, we will go to Texas. And that'll be your second visit to the United States, and we'll have barbecue in Texas. But as Mr. Price, Congressman Price has said, there are a lot of things in common with Georgia and the United States. Our values are the same. The belief in freedom, freedom of the people, as opposed to government running roughshod over the people. People control government. That's what democracy is all about. And that is an important value that we have together. The war on terror is something that is of importance to Georgia, its importance to the United States, and to all free people. Georgia is in a rough neighborhood. You kind of look around and there's not a lot of friendlies there. And of course you look toward the Russian bear, and they certainly are not friendly. The Napoleon of Siberia, that's what I call Putin, the Napoleon of Siberia, he still has sights on regaining and retaking over the former Soviet republics. That is why he chose Georgia first to invade, because Georgia was and is still the strongest democracy in the region. And he believes if he can break Georgia, he can break the other former Soviet republics. And so he, of course, went into Georgia, then Ukraine, Crimea before that, and is trying to exert his influence. And I think the world understands those desires, and that is why it's important that the United States stand strong with Georgia and Ukraine, Moldova as well, to make sure that they stay free and independent countries, and they're not some puppet of the Russian imperialist thought. I was in Georgia in 2008, a week after the Russians invaded and took about a third of Russian territory. I saw the Russian tanks up on top of on the hill, and the Russians have not left your country. They are illegally occupying a third of your country. It is still the U.S. policy that Russia is illegally occupying Georgian territory. And that policy, I do not believe, is going to change, because it is true. And they're still illegally occupying Ukraine as well. I think that we want to, as Mr. Price, Congressman Price mentioned, we want to help improve both of our democracies. Democracies are sort of a difficult business, because you have the people making decisions as opposed to a dictatorship where you don't get any input. And so sometimes because of the fact that there is the input from people, parties, an outsider might think that that democracy is not working. That is absolutely wrong, because it shows it is working when people have a voice of different ideas and then reach a conclusion. And when you have the speaker in charge of making sure everybody at least remains in a dignified way and making those decisions, that shows democracy works, not that democracy is failing. I am proud to be the co-chair of my friend Jerry Conley from Virginia. He and I also serve on the NATO Parliamentary Council, which Georgia hosted last year. And I think that says a lot for the relationship between the West and Georgia. It certainly shows a lot of the relationship between the United States and Georgia. So I'm proud of the fact that I'm here. I'm very honored as a member of Congress that, Mr. Speaker, you are here, that you have come to the United States to meet with members of Congress and on a bipartisan level, and we thank you for that. And I hope the next time Mr. Price speaks, that it's still the 4th speaker and not the 5th speaker of the Parliament that is here. So thank you very much, and thank you again for being here.